Self-care, self-love, mindfulness, and mental wellness. These are topics that are increasingly emphasized today. People have even careers that specialize on these particular topics. But these are all very airy words. What do they really mean? In our new video series, Journey With, we will explore these topics with realism and in greater depth, with coaches that have written coach programs on our award-winning journaling app, Journey. For this month, we will be featuring Sabrina Wang, who is a two-time blood cancer survivor who lives with a rare lung condition. She's also the founder of The Budding Optimist, a blog and online platform where she shares her stories, lessons, and insights on health, personal growth, mental well-being, and meaningful relationships. Sabrina has collaborated with us for the coach programs Understand and Love Yourself 1 and 2 on our app, which features articles they've written relating to self-love and confidence. So now, Sabrina, how would you describe yourself?
I would describe, first of all, my name is Sabrina Wang. I live in a beautiful city called Vancouver. It's in Canada. I'm a human resource professional by day and a health and personal development blogger by night and weekends. And what you mentioned that's interesting about my life is that I survived 2 bouts of blood cancer in my early 20s, and I now live with a rare lung condition as a result of my treatments. And because of these experiences, I'm very passionate about all things related to health, self-development, mental well-being, and relationship building, because I believe these are the foundations of a happy and healthy life. So in my free time, when I'm not doting over my 2 cats, I enjoy writing about these topics in my blog.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of amazing that you've pulled through it and stayed really strong
Right.
and stayed optimistic.
Right.
What would you say is the source of your strength and ability to stay that way?
You know what? I wouldn't say. I would say before this experience, I would say I became a better person because of this experience, and I don't mean to sound cheesy, right? But it was really a life-changing experience for me, because the former me was someone who was very worried all the time, worried about the future, not able to enjoy living in the moment, and had a lot of self-doubt, really negative thinking patterns and pessimistic, right? And this experience just really taught me like how to like ditch my worries behind, how to live in the moment, and how to really understand and love myself. And that's one of the inspirations why I created the coaching program for Journey, the self understanding and how to love yourself.
I
Yeah.
see. So do you have like that kind of phase of nihilistic optimism kind of thing going on?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh,
for sure, for sure. Even when I was first diagnosed, to say that I was not sad, depressed, angry, frustrated, that would be an understatement, right? I went through all of those emotions, but I think there came to a point. I remember one time I had a meltdown in the hospital because I was so worried about my future, right? And I remember one of the nurses just said to me, she said, "Well, can your worries change what's happening to you, or will your worries make you feel better, right?" And I was
yeah,
like, "Well, no, actually, I'm sitting here worried about all of these things, but it's not going to cure me." So she said, let the doctors worry about how to make you better. You just focus on what you can do. So that's been my
nice.
motto. Yeah, since that day, like just worry about what I can do, and focus on what I personally can do to change my situation. And if there's nothing I can do about it, then don't focus on that. Just focus on what you can do.
I
Mhm.
see. And
Yeah.
like, so ever since you started this online program, not online program, like your online platform, right? Your blog, like
Yeah.
what would you say were some of like the most rewarding experiences for you?
I think, just the occasional people reaching out to me and say, "Hey, I came across your blog, I read your articles, and it really helped me, or really touched my life, or made me, have a different perspective." I think that's always been like the most rewarding thing, to know that you actually touch someone's life in a certain way.
Yeah. Oh, you're such a sweet person. I,
I
I
have
I
a
realize whenever I
hard.
say that, people think I'm being sarcastic because of how I talk sometimes,
You know
but
what?
it's not.
I have
I
my
mean,
sarcastic moments too.
so what were your inspirations for your coach program, Understand and Love Yourself, 1 and 2?
I think it's really just based on my own experience because for a few years there, I was really isolated by myself because, my lower immunity
Mm,
and whatnot. It's kind of like what we're going through right now. Basically, I had to
yeah.
isolate myself from the society for a couple years there. So I had a lot of time by myself to think about who I am, who I want to be, or where I wanted my life to go, right?
Mm,
So that period of self-reflection really helped me sort of become aware of where I needed to change. And it's that period of self-reflection helped shape who I am today.
I see.
So I realize it's unfortunate that it took a personal life crisis for me to slow down and really do this kind of self introspection. And I realize that for many people, it's the same way, right? So when I got the opportunity to create a coaching program, my first thought was, well, how do I, inspire people to slow down and do more self introspection and perhaps in the process, really understand themselves and become more compassionate towards themselves.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I see. Okay, yeah. Like the next question was supposed to be why do you choose this topic, but I think you've already answered it. uh, what are some ways that we can show love to ourselves in easy ways? Like,
I think one of the easiest ways to show more love to ourselves is to catch ourselves when we have those negative self-talk. Because
mm,
I don't know about you, but me all the time, like if I'm trying on a piece of new clothes, or something, it's that first thought is always, oh, I don't look that good, right? But then when you catch yourself in that sort of negative self-talk, then you realize, is this really true? Or am I just being more critical towards myself? Would other people be as critical as I am towards myself, right? I
mm,
think you realize you catch yourself in that sort of negative self-talk or negative thinking pattern, you can actively try to change it,
yeah,
right? If you don't catch it, then you're always in that cycle of negative self-talk, negative thinking. But as
yeah,
soon as you catch it, you can do something about it.
yeah. Like I realized. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm like that as well. I'm extremely critical of myself, very harsh, very mean,
Yeah, very
and
harsh, very mean.
yeah, I think once you're actually aware of, the fact that you're saying these things to yourself and that they're horrible, you kind of
Yeah,
learn to stop and like, yeah, catch yourself in it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what do you think are like some key reasons for why we struggle with, accepting and loving ourselves?
I think one of the key reasons we struggle with accepting ourselves, I think it's because we look at ourselves a little bit too closely and too critically. Like, I'll give you one example.
Yeah.
My best friend of 15 years, um, one day I was telling her, oh, sorry, my cat.
Oh, you have a cat.
I have two
Oh,
cats.
she is beautiful.
It's a he. It's a he.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
what's he's beautiful.
Yeah. Anyways, I was saying, I was talking to this best friend, and I said to her, I said, you know what? I'm really, I'm not happy with this mole on my face, like this mark on my face, and I'm thinking of maybe like some ways to get rid of it. And she's like, what mole? And I was like, you're kidding me, right? Like, you've been my best friend for 15 years, and you can't see the big mole on my face? And we argued for like 10 minutes, and I realized she really did not see the mole on my face. So I think that really taught me a lesson. Like, we look at ourselves with such a magnifying glass that
Yeah.
others don't use that kind of magnifying glass to look at ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So that really taught me, like, every time I'm really sort of critically examining myself, am I looking at myself through an objective lens, or
Yeah.
am I in that critical lens?
I see. It's funny
Yeah,
that you brought up that example of the mole because I did have that exact like insecurity when
yeah,
I was young. My friends were just like, "What mole?"
exactly. Nobody
It's the
sees
same
it but
problem because it's like
yourself,
my one
right?
here.
Yeah, yeah. And also we tend to we sort of I realize that we're compassionate towards others. We're more quick to forgive others for some mistakes versus ourselves.
Yeah.
maybe like, and we're we're really quick to sort of expand our failures into our whole world, if you know what I mean, right? Like
Yeah.
one failure, we think, oh, I am stupid, versus, oh, this was a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
big
Hmm.
difference. It's like you said, it's because we have these certain set of expectations for ourselves that
Hmm.
we don't hold to other people. But then,
Exactly.
and because that's partly because of the fact that we kind of, there are certain aspirations we have for ourselves. There's a certain kind
Hmm.
of mold we see ourselves being, that we aspire to be. And
Right.
I think one thing that I still struggle with is that I feel like it's a fine line between understanding and accepting your flaws, and then
Yeah.
seeing your flaws as aspects of yourselves that needs to be worked on. It's like, how
Hmm.
personally, like, how do you navigate this fine line? Because I'm still struggling with it.
Right, right. I think, again, it comes back to, is this something that I can change? Is this something I can do about it? Right? Like, for example, if you feel, if you look at a shortcoming and you look at it and you say, well, is there something I can do about it? For example, for a long time, I wanted to be better at writing,
Mm,
right? So that would be a shortcoming that I think, that's something I can proactively do something about. So therefore, that is an objective self improvement.
mm,
That can be on my self improvement to do list.
I
But
see.
if it's like, oh, I hate my nose, that's something I can't really do, except, if I
Yeah, like,
unless I go get surgery, which is,
yeah,
not something that I have the budget or the desire for, right? So
yeah,
that's not something that I can change or
mm,
do easily. So I would say that how I draw the line is, I look at it as, is there something I can do about it? If not, I wouldn't worry about it.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, like kind of like constructive criticism
Yeah.
and criticism that's just, stupid. Like, so what? I see.
And also, if you receive, I'm actually writing an article about
Mm.
constructive criticism right now, and I
Oh.
think, yeah, and one of the lines that you can tell whether someone's giving you constructive criticism is it specific, right? Are they targeting something specific that you can improve on? And what are the intentions behind the criticism? Is it really to help you improve? If they're just giving you a general criticism without offering perhaps a suggestion to help you grow, um, then I would look at it as, that's not constructive criticism,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that'll just be the kind of criticism that's just supposed to beat you down and not really do anything else.
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
Yeah. So, in your blog, there are like several posts you've made about like living authentically and learning to be yourself. So,
Hmm.
what does it mean for you to live authentically?
What it means for me to live authentically is that you live in a way that's aligned with your values. I
Mm,
keep going back to values in my blog. I think it's really critical for everyone, no matter how young or old you are. You know your values well, right? You have a set of core values that no matter what your decisions, you stick to. So I think living authentically is living aligned with your values. And if you're not living aligned with your values, your heart will know, right?
yeah.
If there are decisions or friends that you have, or even where you live and what sort of career you decide to have, if it's
Yeah.
not aligned with your value, your heart will tell you,
Mm,
because you will feel that this nagging voice at the back of your mind that's telling you, hey, something's wrong, something's wrong. And I think
yeah.
it's important to listen to that voice.
Mm,
Hmm.
yeah, you're right. Um, like, so you've shared some tips on this, right? How to live authentically, how to be yourself.
Hmm.
Um, how do you like balance between, managing your expectations of who you want to be and how you actually are? Because sometimes that's not, it can be quite disjunct,
Hmm.
right? I wanted to be a polyglot. I started like taking lessons in Russian, French,
Wow.
German, Spanish, and I even took like I'm even taking like an online diploma in like Egyptian hieroglyphics. I'm trying to do
Right,
everything at once because I want to
right,
like,
right,
be all that. But I
right,
know
right,
that
right.
I can't realistically, hit all
Hmm.
of that.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you,
Right. I don't know if you read my post on, how to achieve all your goals and dreams with ease, but in there I talk about a method that I learned, and it's actually a TED talk by this man named Stephen Dunny,
Mm.
and he talks about a method that helped him, break several world records.
Wow.
And it's quite simple. Basically, you take your biggest goals and dreams and you break it down into really, really small tasks that you can do on a daily basis, right?
Mm.
And then so it leaves you with no excuse to not to do them because they're made so small and so easily achievable that you can do
Mm.
it day by day. And as soon as you've become familiar with them and you can do it on a daily basis, you add a little bit more, and so you progress, right? And
Mm.
then it builds with time, and then over time you get closer and closer towards your goal. So that's the method that I'm adopting into my life,
I
so that
see.
I'm not overwhelming myself, right? I
Yeah.
agree, like you want to take on so much, but you have to understand that there has to be a process, and if
Yeah.
you sort of involve yourself with the process, and letting yourself progress and
Mm.
grow, you can achieve a lot of your goals without, feeling overwhelmed and feeling really stressed. And also,
Yeah.
I think we also need to prioritize and focus. And again, going back to our values, like
Yeah.
what's most important in our life. So some things we may have to sort of, prioritize a little bit later and really
Mm.
focus on the things that are really important to us.
Yeah, yeah. It's I guess a lot of
Mhm.
things are less overwhelming if you know, like break it down bit by bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And really focus on what's truly matters to, right?
Yeah. Like in
Yeah,
my case, I guess instead of like I will learn to speak Russian at a local, like a native level, I'm just gonna be like, okay, I will memorize this noun case today, stuff like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
I will memorize maybe like 7 words today and then maybe
Yeah.
8 words tomorrow, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
In one of your blog posts, you've made a list of questions you can ask yourself to discover what you're truly
Mm.
like. Because
Mhm,
not
mhm.
all of us are like that aware of ourselves. Which of these questions would you like to highlight to our viewers in this video?
Um, I think my one of my favorite questions on that list,
Yeah.
again, is what are your core values, right?
Mm.
I think again, I sound like a broken record, but this is so important. I would like everyone, including myself, to really figure out what your values are and really stick by them. No matter what you go through, if you decide these are going to be the things that are important to you in life, you make that important. You make the time
Mm.
to embrace these values, right? So I like that question. And I also like the question, if you were a superhero, who
Mm.
would you be?
Who would you be?
If I was a superhero,
Yeah.
I think I would be Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Like the
Yeah,
Gal Gadot one of the oh, she's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for today.
Okay.
It was really lovely meeting you. Thank you
It
so
was
much.
lovely meeting you too.
That is all we have for today, and thank you so much for being with us. Feel free to visit Sabrina's site at buddingoptimist.com or chat with Sabrina on Facebook. Sabrina's coach program is available on Journey, which can be downloaded on the App Store as well as Google Play. You can also download our app on our company website, journey.cloud. Thank you so much for supporting Journey thus far. Your blog, you call yourself. Sorry, I was stalking you. what do you? Why do you call yourself Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
Because that was a popular show when I was growing up,
Oh
Sabrina the
yes,
Teenage
yes, I
Witch.
loved it.
Yeah, so actually, it was the reason why I'm called Sabrina. When my family first immigrated to Canada, I wanted to pick out a name for myself, right? And I really love that show, so I was like, you know what? From now on, I'm gonna call myself Sabrina.
Do you watch the Netflix one? There was a new like Netflix
Uh,
the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I think it's like the
right.
darker, edgy version.
Yeah, I didn't.
Really good.
I didn't watch that one because I'm really attached to the old version, where the happy and funny one. So
Oh,
I didn't
okay,
want to
yeah.
taint my impression of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
In that case, yeah, please don't watch it. Uh,